Welcome to Thrones and Scones. It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk about Game of Thrones and we do it over breakfast, bitch. It's Tony Hans and Jeremy in with you today on this Friday, season 6, episode 5.
I like the Britney Spears thing. It's breakfast, bitch.
It's breakfast, bitch. That should have been our theme song for the show. It's breakfast, bitch. I don't even remember what Britney's song that is, but
I don't either. I think it's obvious. It's one of the newer ones, right?
I have no idea, no clue. But Jenna, solve this debate.
What song is it where Britney Spears goes, "It's Britney, bitch"? She doesn't know.
Oh, that cat doesn't know either. No one knows. All right. Well, we do know season 6, episode 5, The Door, and cheddar and chive today. Cheddar and chive. Then you really gotta cheddar chive. We're musical today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy for a Friday. Welcome to it. Whew. We guys like a little. Would you guys like a little wiki plot action here?
Yeah. Lay it down.
I'm really happy that you guys are always so into this. You could say no, but you never do. All right, The Door, season 6, episode 5. Oh, sorry. It's a pretty short one again today. They all are at this point. How do you want it? How can I deliver it best to your ear holes?
Let's get. I'm trying to think of what he sounds like just talking. Maybe maybe it could be sung. Maybe some Dave Grohl.
I got it. I couldn't even imagine what Dave Grohl sounds like. I am not a Foo Fighters fan.
Oh, not a big Foo Fighters fan?
Couldn't even tell you couldn't pick his voice out of a crowd.
Really? I love Foo Fighters. Super good. Why don't you lay some Britney Spears down?
Oh, no.
Okay. What's a Britney Spears song? Oops, I did it again.
There it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's breakfast, bitch. Tyrion seeks a strange ally. Bran learns a great deal. Brienne goes on a mission. Arya's given a chance to prove herself. And then it ends. Set from above. It's all on Game of Thrones.
I just like the idea that that's how she talks, just in general, in her daily life.
You guys. She's actually like, interviews with Britney Spears make me actually giggle to this very day. I think the most recent thing, whenever she was on James Corden, which was probably a couple years ago at this point, but Britney Spears has been in the limelight, as it were, for years. She's had her ups and downs, but she seems to be doing well. She's been in that Vegas residency forever. She's got like hundreds of millions of dollars, and she's still so like quirky and like kind of Southern. It's super funny to listen to Britney Spears talk. She just like she's just a little ditzy in a good way. Not in a I'm not trying to be mean to Britney. She's just, she does not have a clue in a beautiful way. No offense, Britney. It sounds offensive. I really don't mean it offensively. Oh, baby. What do you guys like about season 6, episode 5, The Door? Hold the door.
Hold
the door.
Hold the door.
Hold the door.
Hodor.
Hodor.
You think it's gonna run the same way in the books?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the scene will play out exactly the same, but like it's one of the only moments that I can tell was absolutely written by George Martin. Like, it's just got that. Got that nice burn. Like, there's no way the showrunners thought of this.
No, and I think I actually was interested. So it's funny you say that, because I was very curious about it and looked it up. And it turns out the showrunners, in a meeting one time, like they were saying, like, this was probably in an interview or something. They were saying they met with George R. Martin in a hotel like meeting or something about the show. And they basically, the entire premise of the meeting, like from the showrunner standpoint, is they were trying to like seep out as much information as they could that was not available yet in the books.
Okay.
And they said that he wasn't really budging on much, and he just kind of he kind of just threw out there this Hodor thing. That was from the beginning. That was how it was written. Like 20 years ago, he had like the idea that this is how he like what the plan was and all this stuff. And it was the door thing, right? The actual like events around it may be different, but it was in fact his idea, and from the beginning the plan. The showrunners took it their way with like the actual where it's the setting and the what happens and what leads to it, I think, but the idea was there from the beginning.
It is such a major thing. Of course, for anyone who's catching up with us or listening in for the first time to see what happens, basically, and this is the end of the episode, but it's my favorite part. Anyone gonna throw in their hat there as well? Favorite part?
For the Holddadoor part?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you almost have to give it to that part. It's so it's a powerful scene.
I think
it's a.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I think this episode is weighted well with that scene. I think that actually makes this a good episode. Without it, I thought this was kind of a weaker episode.
We do go. It's a long build up north from the wall. We see a couple things up there. The first revelation of which is that the White Walkers were created by the children of the forest to protect themselves from you, from men.
Yeah, that was pretty.
As Leaf says.
Yeah. Speaking of just leaps, I know we already mentioned this a long time ago, and just like age changes and things. Those children became adults quick. Very quickly.
It's true. They look very different. Yeah. So we see that. We learn that. Blah, blah, blah. Bran is not happy that the Three-Eyed Raven keeps pulling him out of visions prematurely. There's lots of warnings there. And then, when everything sleeps, Bran sneaks over to the root of destiny and touches it, grips it, and is instantly transported to the army of the dead. He walks through it. He sees them. They don't see him. He gets to the White Walkers. He's looking at him, and the Night King just turns his head, looks right at Bran. Bran turns around. All the whites are now looking at Bran, and then the Night King grips him by the arm. Bran wakes up. He's got the touch on him now, which means for some reason that the Night King and all his goonies can get in. And I would say that's bullshit, but it's magic. I can't tell it how it can and can't work. So okay, Bran messes up in a major way. And so much of this, like the Hodor thing, is heartbreaking and crazy and it has so many ramifications. But I just want to run a little mini RIP segment to say that we lost the Three-Eyed Raven, at least Volume 1. You can make the point that Bran's on his way, but still. We lose, from the show's perspective, all of the children of the forest.
Yep.
All of the ones that have existed since before humans. In the books, there are a few more that I think are still alive because they're down south, hidden. But as far as we know from the show, now they're all dead. And we lose Summer as well. Real quick. Just...
Yeah, that was actually my least favorite part of the show.
Sad little yelp there. Mira kills a White Walker though. Props to her.
Good for her.
It's becoming less and less of a rarity at this point, but hey, it's still an accomplishment. And then yes, they're making their way out. Leaf sacrifices herself. The whites are still coming though, and then they leave out the back door, and Hodor holds the door. Bran is warped into the past, seeing things and trying to do things, and Mira's screaming, hold the door, hold the door. And Bran looks over at childhood Willis, who then has a seizure and starts screaming, hold the door, hold the door. And it translates to Hodor as he calms down, and we realize that's where it came from all along. And this is such an impactful thing, because it not only means that Bran can affect things, that he can go back and seemingly affect the past, but it also means he can't, which is something that's already been said by the Three-Eyed Raven. What will happen will happen. And this is where a lot of conspiracy theories stem from. The fact that he had something to do with Aerys Targaryen, who was obsessed with repeating, burn them all, burn them all, burn them all. Like, did Bran have something to do with that? What else has Bran done? Because we're now learning that whatever he does do isn't going to change what has happened. So we've probably already seen it work its little tendrils, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting way to do time travel where it can't just fix anything without already having roots set in the story.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm interested to see if there is anything other ties. I gotta imagine they have pretty big plans for stuff like that, or at least pepper in one other big reveal of this time travel thing. And I would bet that I know there's a lot of conspiracies out there that I don't necessarily buy into with Bran and the Night King and all that stuff, which we'll talk about.
And you can read into it just like Groot if you want to, but I can't remember if it's in this episode. I think it's the one previous actually, where Bran wakes up from his dream where he sees Willis for the first time, talking to little Ned Stark and little Benjen and everything, and he goes, "Hodor, what I saw you as a kid. You could talk. What happened?" And he goes, "Hodor." And like watching it back, because I read this somewhere, I didn't come up with it. Watching it back, it straight sounds like, and with his head movements and everything, it just sounds like you did. Like,
Yeah.
that it's so pointed there. Not like angry or anything, but that's just like he knows his purpose in life. It's been made for this moment.
So when I guess one quick question from a magic standpoint. In case you've been brushing up on the laws of magic in Game of Thrones world.
I do have my magic void card.
Yeah, so when Bran is like warged into the past, and we see him do that, so then he also can warg into Hodor at the same time? Because how does he end up warging into Hodor to then like get, because Hodor's kind of freaked out, now all of a sudden you see his eyes go, pick up Bran and start running for the door, but you still keep cutting back to seeing Bran in the past.
I think he wargs into Hodor in the past.
In the past.
And
then somehow like, okay, I get it. So there's like a chain here.
Yeah, and then I don't know if it's him like completing the connection or losing the connection. If it's
That
either
is the season.
that causes the
Gotcha.
the actual.
I never thought of that actually, whether it was losing or when he did it, that's the actual thing that
was
caused
the
the
goal.
seizure.
So then my thing there is like, is the last little bit, I wonder when exactly it's lost, because is Hodor at a certain point holding the door by himself, like he's no longer being warged into. He's doing this to protect
I think
Bran.
so.
Yes,
Yeah.
that makes the scene much more powerful, right? In my opinion.
Yeah, because he looks terrified as he's doing it at the end.
Yeah.
And you realize that he realizes this is the end.
But that is a good point. I don't know when the switch is made.
Yeah. I was just wondering about that. It also seems so you see that door crumbling pretty quick. Hodor's going down, obviously, and there's nowhere to go. Like how, and she's got to carry that dude. Like I still don't know how. Like,
Yeah, you don't see
like,
how that.
How do they
is-
actually get away from that?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, they don't. Going forward, they run into trouble pretty quickly.
Yeah.
There's some more helping Cold Hands to guide them through it, but yeah. It's major though. Some very big stuff, especially. I mean, from a plot point perspective, some of the biggest stuff we've gotten thus far. Whether or not we realize it yet, because I am of a firm belief that whatever the outcome of the show, Bran plays a major role. I don't think that's an unpopular theory at this point.
And I think the biggest takeaway here is that middle of the night, someone's sleeping. Don't go white knuckling their roots, okay? Just leave it at that.
Fair point. Fair point. Oh, what else did you guys have of note from the episode? Perhaps your least favorite parts?
I have some things to say about my least favorite part, so I'll maybe defer.
Yeah, so for me, it was the whole Euron Greyjoy section. I mean, he's a sleazeball. I like that now Theon's back, with Yara, and then the whole candidacy thing, and it sounds like that's the direction it's going to go. And then I just feel like, why would these people want him?
Thank you.
Like there should be no reason to want him to lead. And Yara is for all we know, as up until this point, has been proven and talked about as like this great leader. So suddenly no one respects her. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's ridiculous. It's my exact note as well, because they set it up where people are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. They respect, because Euron's playing like they don't or whatever, and maybe they didn't, fine, but they set up like they respect Balon Greyjoy enough to vote for his heir, who is a broken shell of a man, whether or not his genitals are actually... a question of whether or not can rule, but he's just a broken person. No one knows him. No one has ever known him. No one wants him around. They sent him away before. No one treated him with any love or respect or anything because he hadn't earned it. And they were to the point of wanting to vote for him over Yara. And then he makes this semi-impassioned speech, gets them behind Yara with great actual points, and all Euron does is show up, says that he's back, admits to killing this guy who they just kind of established they put a lot of respect into, and then just makes a couple dick jokes at Theon, and then they vote for him.
Yeah, I just don't like the whole, I show up, I killed your king, and there's no repercussions. Like that, the whole taking bullshit. Like, you can't use that argument in every situation. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's my least favorite part too, actually. Close second was the direwolf dying. Summer dying. Horrible. Oh, but but it's, again, there's a fine line between what I didn't like and what I actually think is the worst part of the show, because Summer dying is still like a powerful moment in the show, and it's emotionally capturing and all that stuff, which is still like good for a show. You can't have all happy moments. Back to the Euron stuff and why I hate it so much. I truly just don't like this, and I think the only argument that could be made of why they would vote for him is he does sound like he has a good plan in the Daenerys thing, and like she needs a husband and all that stuff, and going over there and whatever. Like, for all they know, it sounds like a decent plan to take over like more of the world, and he's going to also have this fleet, which is really all Yara promised, was the fleet. So I guess I maybe get that. But it's just, he comes out of nowhere, and like, I agree, like, you can't just kill your kid. Well, then there's got to be some rule or some order or something. Like, so then anyone who just killed your king is fine? I don't know.
Also, I almost disagree. I don't think that that's something to his credit, his plan. They already, Robb proposed giving them, a team up, giving them, and Balon Greyjoy scoffed at it and threw it back in his face and basically attacked the North because of it, because they're Ironborn, they take their shit. And he's not only promising to go and pledge himself to somebody else, but, again, this is just an issue for these Ironborn mentality in a conversation they set up themselves 2 minutes beforehand to a woman, like to a foreign woman who means nothing, who they know nothing about. Yeah, I've refused to believe that everyone would be on board with that.
Yeah, I agree. And then he makes the statement of, which this would be probably an issue with Yara's plan too, in depending on her grand aspirations here, but he then goes on to say that he's going to have his men build him 1,000 ships, right? Yeah. So I did a little digging into what it would take to build 1,000 ships, okay? in math. What they're in the rough technological era that they're in, okay? So, first of all, he goes, go cut down any trees, get any wood that you can. Their environment, we already know, is just basically rocks and bird shit and water. Yes. Like, we know there's not, I didn't see any just blooming forests nearby when you're looking at those. So that's issue number one. And to build 1,000 ships, you'd roughly need about 1,000 or 750,000 trees. Okay. Then it would take about 15 months to build one ship. All right.
What?
Yeah, 15 months to build one ship with roughly like a good 30 to 50 man crew dedicated to that ship.
Jeez,
okay. And then, so you not only need the space to have multiple projects going at once, 1,000, if you want to get it done in 15 months. Sure. So 1,000 spaces for building these ships, and then you'd need 30 to 50 men per ship, and that's just the men building the ships, not to mention all the people like creating the sails, doing all the other stuff, crafting all the other things. So you'd roughly need about tens of thousands of builders. Okay. And
sounds realistic. All these things right now, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't buy it, but that's my statement there.
You're forgetting magic.
He does
Magic
get them.
exists.
So I don't know.
He does get them.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
He does get
gets
the
them
full
quick.
Yeah. So
well, maybe your sources just didn't know about the great Ironborn craftsman.
Yeah,
I don't. I think that that's clearly it.
These people who are known for stealing everything and not making anything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bummer. What now? So you had some tirades. Have you gotten all your words out, or you've got some more things to dish?
No,
on
that
me?
was really it. I'm not a big. I think I don't hate Euron Greyjoy as much with as much of a passion as I think you guys do.
Sure.
With the way you speak about him, I would argue, I guess, again, like, because the way he verbalizes what he's gonna do, like going over to Daenerys and stuff, it almost sounds like, I guess the argument could be made in my mind that he plans to like marry her and then take over all her armies and all this stuff and like be the leader, and like that's
Fair.
why he talks very down about her, right? He says like he's like, there's this chick that has all the shit, I'm gonna go take it and give her my dick, basically. And then that's it. Like, he doesn't say he's gonna like kneel to her or anything.
Good
So
point.
I think that's the one point that could be made. That's like, okay, that's not a bad plan. Like, that's not that bad. That could work, I suppose. Or at least could make sense to these people who don't know anything about the situation. But yeah, not a big fan. Think it's pretty shitty.
Can I get your guys' thoughts on our good, bad, and juggly moments for episode 5 out in the theater?
I really liked the theater scene.
Me
I thought
too.
that was
Yeah.
good.
Me too.
It was good. I the only thing I don't understand in this episode and the next one, where, like, from every interaction with foreign people before, in my memory, no one has this love and respect for Joffrey.
Yeah.
I don't know where that character is coming from.
Right.
Like, no one likes him, right?
Yep.
Maybe it's just because he's dead now. And, like, he's been dead for a while.
So he's
there's just
remembered well.
He's a dead kid, and you can't speak ill of a dead kid.
The remembrance could be a little bit skewed at this point too. I don't know.
The Ned Stark thing, Arya trying to come to terms with that was funny.
Yeah.
This whole, I do like the theater arc, not the super long one, a lot. And as I said, because you deflected the question, it gave us a little nudity.
Nudity.
Gave us some jugglies on stage. This was a X-rated play, apparently.
Yes, fake Sansa Stark.
And then we get just a very unexpected and close-up shot of some male genitalia.
Probably the closest dick we've seen thus far.
I would agree. We'll just have to remember that for our awards, our overall Game of Thrones series awards.
Yes. With maybe even a wart or two.
Yeah, I think that was
Something weird.
That's what was implied there.
I didn't pause this one, so I
No?
wasn't able to.
No rewinding?
I rewound once.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have to pause. It was on screen for a couple seconds.
Yeah, we got a good look. Actually, the reason I rewound is because I was just writing about the play, like put my head down, and all of a sudden Jenna just goes, "Dick," and I like look up and it was already gone. So then I had to rewind.
Of course. You have her trained very well. It was fine. Besides the warts, a lovely dick.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell if he was wearing it ball forward or not because he was just kind of fondling everything.
Yeah, it's hard to
So,
say.
We
I
can't.
mean, we
can't
definitely
judge it
saw
from a
some
fashion
balls.
standpoint. We did see some balls.
Yeah.
But firmly grasped, spread out.
And then we get some repeat we got some repeat fake Sansa jugs in the backstage.
They gave us another look over there. Jeremy, anything else from the episode that tickled your fancy in a good or bad way?
I mean, just a little heart moment with Dany and Jorah, right? like, hey.
She forgives him.
She's like, hey, go take care of yourself, bruh. He's like, I got you.
In a good or bad or jugglies way.
Yeah.
This is actually a moment between Danny and Jorah that I liked. I liked this whole thing where Jorah was just being honest, blah, blah, blah. Danny was treating him, I think, in a much more rational way than she has the past 2 times that she's kicked him out.
Yeah.
And I think that it both came off very naturally from their characters. I like that he did just say, like, yeah, I'm in love with you. I'm always going to be in love with you. But kind of without saying it, just established that he didn't need that. He didn't need that. He was there to serve. And that she was like, you know what, I need you, not in the way that you just said. But I think it was done much more nuanced. I think it was not soap opera-y. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
So props to them. They took 6 seasons to get it right, but you did it.
Yep. And then, I mean, that was, I thought my other good stuff was the play with Arya as well. I just enjoyed that. But yeah, there was the Sansa Baelish kind of like, I mean, Baelish is a creep. He feels creepy in this show now. And I like that Sansa is like, she clearly gets that he's trying to manipulate her still. And I like that we've seen growth, so we don't believe it's going to happen, but we'll see.
And we did it great.
There's that one tiny moment where she says, like, blah, 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 something, my brother. And he goes, half brother. And you see this look on her face that's just like, maybe he's getting to her just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's got his claws in still. Just a touch.
Yeah.
There's another excellent just Tormund staring at Brienne scene with this like little funny smile.
I believe Brienne acknowledges Tormund in this episode even. To Sansa or something when she's sending her away rather to go to River Run to meet with Brendan Tully. He says something about like, she says something like, my lady, there's a lot of unsavory characters here or whatever. That big guy for a start keeps something, I forget what the words are, but she mentions him and oh, it's so good. Because then Sansa says like, Jon isn't Tormund or whatever. Like, I just want them to get together.
Yeah, so it was overall it was okay. It was a decent episode. Still, I think a lot of progression in the story for our characters. Hodor,
Hodor
breaks my heart.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Hans, Cheddar, and Chive have come together in an oven. Was it your oven?
No, this was Outpost Grocery. And it was it was fine.
Okay. Cheddar and Chive. These savory ones, I think they've been more missed than hit. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that up for the tally.
Yeah, which is funny because I would say that some of the savory ones have been excellent. But then there's a wide disparity though. Whereas the fruit ones usually tend to have a little bit less so. They're usually in run about the same ballpark, but
I feel you there. Well, that was season 6, episode 5. The door. Hold the door. Hold the door.
Hold the door.
Hodor. We will be back not tomorrow, taking this weekend off as we usually do, but back on Monday for season 6, episode 6. If we can find one more 6, y'all, we might just be able to summon the devil himself. Get a guest appearance from Satan on the episode. Imagine what that would do for our downloads. Oh, well, I guess we'll have to find out. Maybe Monday's enough of a devil. We'll join you then. And until then, you deal with GOT.
Yeah, you know me. So, not a big story. I've actually prided myself on not having an incident like this yet.
Oh.
But as you guys know, as many of you listeners may know, Jenna is an identical twin. And
Jenna, just to be clear, is your girlfriend.
Yes.
Who loves to hear her name on this podcast.
Oh, she loves it. She
Jenna.
Yeah, every time we talk about it, she's like, I just wish, I love the podcast, and I just wish you guys talked about me more. So, that's how
and also, I think she goes by J-Girl, right?
Yeah,
That's her preferred name.
Exclusively. So, Jenna, if you're listening, this one's for you. So anyway, we're at this party of hers, or her family's party. It wasn't Jenna's party, but it was her sister's like housewarming party, and we're there a little bit early. Obviously, a good chunk of her family's there, and her identical twin sister's there. I had already acknowledged this at this point. I talked to her for a little bit, and then I just had a drink or something. And I was kind of standing and I saw Jenna at the countertop in the kitchen. Everyone was kind of standing around it, and I walk up and I just put my arm again on the counter, and I just kind of like lean, as I was just standing there, like kind of leaning over her, which was pretty close, and I didn't think anything of it, and I just was just standing there, and then all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye, I kind of like started to realize, because when I started to realize that this in fact was not Jenna. And then all of a sudden, as I instantly realized it, and I'm like, oh man, I am like real close. So then I just like slowly, like I try and like subtly like scooch over. And then I realize, like, at that point, I'm like, there's absolutely no way I can play this off. So then I just like, I look at Julia, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she started laughing, and I was like, I thought you were Jenna, and she's like, yeah, you were. She's like, you were standing so close. I wanted to say something, but then I was like, I didn't know if I should or like. So yeah, it was thoroughly embarrassing. In all fairness, it was like a Hawaiian themed party, and they were both wearing Hawaiian shirts, like oversized, like baggy Hawaiian shirts and black like legging pants, and they, so
this
not
is
an excuse.
This is a very interesting. Now, Jeremy, is Jarek your identical twin?
No,
fraternal.
Mm-hmm.
So here is my question for identical twins, and I guess Jenna will be our only frame of reference. First of all, if you mistake them, it must be pretty close. How identical are we talking?
So this is only not like, again, I would say like they're very, like I can tell them apart very easily. Like they're
Without
not
issue.
that identical without issue. It was only because it was from behind. If I would have actually just like looked, I would have noticed. But again, I was like kind of not paying attention. I was really just out of the corner of my eye. I saw the blonde, I saw everything, and I just like went and was really leaning up. It's not like I groped her or anything. Which interesting, which funny enough, Julia's boyfriend has accidentally done to Jenna, which is a whole nother level of hilarity. But
I guess you got
anyway.
You got to plan for things like that. But so here is my question. And again, won't generalize, won't say all identical twins, but all of the ones that I have had direct experience with, which is at least 3 sets of twins that I have known for multiple years.
Sure.
Why do they always have the same haircuts?
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Just get a different haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game over. No one has this problem anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed. They did for a while, in all fairness. They did for a long time. Knowing them, Julia had like reddish orange or like reddish hair, and then Jenna's always been blonde. But then Julia
was kissed by fire.
She dyed it. Julia has subsequently dyed her hair back to blonde. So
okay, just so we can throw her name in a few more times. Is Jenna naturally blonde?
yeah, they all are.
Yeah, Jenna. Mm-hmm.
Jenna.
She was in this episode.
Jenna.
Yep, Jenna.
Actually, I do believe that you asked her if she wanted to get in on the scone review. She denied.
She denied. Yeah. Just cold no. Didn't even want to try the scone.
But Jenna, big friend of the show, has made a few scones. Perhaps we can make our own little can be part of our broadcast empire. Mm-hmm. When we start doing cooking shows, scones deconstructed with J Girl.
Yeah, I like that. We'll make it our own segment in our multimedia empire.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Which will include, but not be limited to, our porn channels, which we've already.
Oh yes.
That's where the money's at, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all on that
probably
clicks.
get in on the. What are newspaper? You think
And
that we should...
by porn channels, you mean the non-pornographic
Right, content that we will be
content
putting
on
up on
porn websites.
the porn channels,
Yeah.
mostly in the comments section
Genius,
or in.
genius.
You know how there's always like you'll be tapped into the porn, and then in the corner there'll be like a multi-layered video with weird or porn. And it's like, hey, maybe you'll like this. If not, just ignore it. But maybe you will.
That's how they get you to take the step. Because if you think about it, you think of some of this twisted shit. You're like, who the hell would watch this? And it's right. No one's gonna click on that as the first vid. They chip away at you with those they don't jump you right in, because then then it's like they get you with the small steps. First it's your step brother, and then it's your stepmom, and then all of a sudden the lines become a little bit more connected.
Then it's your actual mom. Then you're both squirrels.
And then there's this Japanese character with a tentacle wrapped around.
Exactly. It's the natural progression of the world.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, see ya, Jenna.
Bye, Jenna.
Bye, Jenna.